Today's episode of The Mandalorian was nothing like we've ever seen before. I'll go ahead by starting with the things that I enjoyed in this episode, which wasn't all that much, and then I'll get into the rest. It was really cool to see the battle droids in live action again.
This is a restricted area.
And for the first time, the droids were voiced by Matthew Wood, who voiced the battle droids in the Clone Wars and in the Bad Batch.
Take this upstairs.
Although I really think that the super battle droid that ran from Din Djarin and Bo-Katan should have been a commando droid or droideka. Super battle droids never had the ability to move that quickly in the Clone Wars, and in the Bad Batch. I also really enjoyed seeing the Ugnaughts and the references to Queel from earlier seasons. In general, I felt many of the scenes without the cameo characters were decent. However, for many fans, it was disappointing to see the direction this episode headed in after last week's cliffhanger with the escape of Moff Gideon. This episode in many ways felt like just another side mission and a filler episode to the season. What's incredibly puzzling is why the creators of the show decided to put this episode here when there is such obvious room to expand off of what happened last week and to tell a story of what happened to Moff Gideon and what the role of the Mandalorians was in his escape. It was too bad to see the rising conflict between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin be resolved without a battle between the two. A fight between them for the Darksabers seemed imminent, and it's disappointing to see the way the creators just wrote it off. The celebrity cameo appearances in this episode just felt off, and their characters were very poorly written. The acting, particularly in the parts of Lizzo and Jack Black, was just subpar, and really not up to the usual standards of Star Wars. Their characters really just took me out of what was going on in the rest of the episode, and their presence felt very forced. The set and world in this episode also felt very cheaply done, and kind of cheesy in many ways. In many of the scenes, the areas and surroundings felt more like a generic sci-fi space movie and not like Star Wars at all. It reminded me of Disney's disappointing Galactic Star Cruiser in Florida. It just felt like Disney had their corporate hand in this episode too much. I also thought the droid bar was a total joke. Droids are machines. They don't go to the bar and have a good time. This really just felt ridiculous. With just 2 episodes remaining in the season, I really hope The Mandalorian will make a U-turn in the direction it's heading, and I'm optimistic that it will. However, for the show to have a strong conclusion in just 2 episodes seems difficult, and it would likely feel rushed. But what did you think about this episode? I personally am disappointed. Episode 6 feels like a big step in the wrong direction for Star Wars, which is already struggling with its fanbase. But let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please consider subscribing.